Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is my second video. So the first video was resume tips with a focus on the personal heading. This video is resume tips with a focus on the education section. The education section should be painless. It's really brief. It is what it is, which is your education. Where you place your education section can be a little tricky. It depends on the person and it depends on how long you've been out of school. So for me, typically I say if you've been out of school for 1 to 10 years, then your education section can be placed underneath your personal heading. So it would be at the beginning of your resume. If you've been out of school for longer than 10 years, then your education section will fall underneath your experience section, which will place it towards the end of your document. The reason for that is as you've been out of work for a bit, then you have more experience and your experience will take precedence over the education. I hate to say that for as much money as we spend in education, but that is what it boils down to. If you've been out of school for a bit, then your education just kind of falls to the bottom of your document, and employers will typically pay more attention to your experience. Not to say that your education is irrelevant, because it is definitely important. But depending on how long you've been out of school is where that placement will be. I will place some links down below and you can kind of take a look at those and see where you may fall in regards to where your education section can be placed. To give you an example of myself, my most recent degree was received in 2017, and that was a master's degree. So because it hasn't been but a couple of years ago, I placed my education section underneath my personal heading. Now, I have 2 master's degrees and 1 bachelor's degree. And for the sake of this example, let's pretend that I only had the bachelor's degree. Now, I received my bachelor's degree in 2005. So if that is the only degree that I have, then my education section will fall underneath my experience section, just because my experience will kind of outweigh my education at that time. So now that we've pretty much talked about placement of your education section, let's talk about what the education section entails. So your education section includes the name of the school you've attended, the location, which would be city and state, the graduation date or expected or anticipated graduation date. So you don't have to include the date that you started and the date that you ended. You can just include the graduation date, or again, expected or anticipated graduation date if you're still in progress. You will also include the name of the degree that you're working on. If you're going after your master's, you would include Master's of Arts or Master's of Science. Same thing with bachelor's, same thing with an associate degree. If it's your high school diploma, then that's what you would put. You would also include the major, minor, concentration as well. Your GPA can also fall under this section. GPA, again, depends on how long you've been out of school. For those of us who have been out of school for a bit, then GPA really doesn't matter. If you are a recent graduate or you're still currently in progress, then your GPA does matter, and you would want to keep it on your resume depending on what your GPA is. I typically say if it's a 3.0 or higher, definitely put it up there. If it's lower than a 3.0, you may not want to include it. But then again, it also depends on the type of position that you are applying to. Also, in your education section, you can include relevant coursework. If you are taking courses or have taken courses that are relevant to the position that you are applying to, you would include that information as well. I will show you some examples also down below to give you an idea of what the education section will look like. So again, education section should be really brief. It's a really painless part of your resume because it's really you just listing your credentials, what you have received or what you are currently working on as far as education. Your education section will be formatted in reverse chronological order. So you will start with your most recent education experience, and you will also do that with your work experience. So the next video will talk about work experience, and you will continue that format of reverse chronological format in that section as well. So again, you will start with the most recent experience and then work your way down. So again, that's education section in a nutshell. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it helps someone, and enjoy your weekend. Bye.